Okay, so now I'm going to show you basically what brush texture is. Now, the cool thing about any Photoshop kind of product is you can get brushes, and basically what a brush is you click the brush here or hit B, on a PC, and you click this little arrow up here, and here's all the downloaded brushes I've gotten off DeviantArt from friends. I've made myself possibly, just tons of different stuff. I mean, you got stuff from, music brushes to dragons. I mean, I don't know what you need to use, straight up, dragon, brush. Maybe we could give them like a sick face tat. Or, yeah, that's the new style. We could like kind of put in, yeah. Funny part is I actually have 2 sleeves of tattoos, so I don't need to worry about, this kind of thing. But anyways, so what you can do with these brushes is, just like you said, just like it said, you can draw, stuff. You can basically brush things on, blah, 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 tons of stuff. And then this is more realistic in a design setting. But, another thing you can do is the eraser tool here allows you to use brushes as well. And that's what we're going to talk about right now, using an erase brush to make a texture. Now check this out. I got a brush I got off DeviantArt. I'm not quite sure who made it. It doesn't have stored who created it. But, like I said before, if you do download brushes and use stuff, try to credit people for what they've done. It's kind of just a, matter of just respect. You can build your own brushes if you want to. That I'll save that for a different tutorial, a different DVD. But, so just you can download them. DeviantArt.com is a great community to get that stuff. So I'm going to show you the difference between what we did in an earlier tutorial, the difference between what we did in the last one with just pasting a grunge texture and what we're going to do now is use a brush texture, to edit things. So, what I did here was, here's our original. This is our template. We started from scratch on this DVD, as well as included in this DVD set. You'll have the presets and tutorials, this exact image to mess with and see what I did with the final product. We started, getting them cleaned up. We added the blur edges to kind of smooth it out, added texture on his shirt, just for fun. We even fixed his eyes to make them clear, cleaned up his, complexion. So at this point, we've already come quite a while, quite a ways to fixing up this photo from just the basic photo where, I'll bring it on the top. Let's see, whoops. Let me try that again. Which I'll show you what that original was. So this is, I'm pretty sure, the first thing we started with, so you already noticed right there off the bat, how much we've changed of it. You can see, his cheekbones kind of look different already as far as, when we were messing with cutouts, so let's go ahead and move on. So what we're going to do now is mess with texture, and not this texture. We're going to mess with this texture, but not, in the last tutorial, a paste texture. What we're going to do is use a brush texture. So check this out. We'll use this kind of a double down kind of thing. So we're going to keep this texture, and what we're on right now is the erase tool. Under the erase tool, I clicked brushes. Under, my millions of brushes here, I have a favorite, and it's just cracks and walls. That's basically a grunge thing, and you got stuff like this. You can make it bigger. It's kind of a grungy, cracks in it, kind of, dirty looking brush. I mean, you got tons. You can, find tons of stuff just laying around, like, let's say grunge textures, and you just got tons of stuff that you can, dirty up your overall images and stuff like that. Like, we're not going to use this brush, but you can see what I'm talking about as far as just kind of slopping it up. So let's go ahead and bring up my favorite one, which is cracks and walls. And I'm pretty positive I got that off DeviantArt. So okay, so what we're gonna do is, we got our texture here. What we're gonna do is, I'm gonna bring it down so we can see everything. What I'm gonna do is add kind of a texture on top of that. So I'm erasing this image, this kind of somewhat grungy paste thing we did, I'm basically going to erase certain portions that I want to stand out as far as his face, you know, some of his shirt. So we'll get started. I got 100% down right now, you know, on the erase, as opposed to doing a kind of a wimpier erase kind of thing. So it's up to you to judge. But the cool thing about a lot of these texture brushes is if you hit it 100%, it still adds a lot of that kind of textury look. So, you know, it's good to kind of weigh out which ones you do. So, you know, let's take it easy, and we'll do 35%. So what I'm going to do is start just kind of, you know, stamping out portions of his face. And, you know, we're not going to release this image, you know, like this, you know, with so much grunge on top. We're basically going to make that kind of blend in better. So what we're doing right now is, you know, grunging up, kind of fixing up this part. We're going to lower the transparency of it, or the fill ratio, and then that'll be our kind of top image that we're going to, you know, layer on the very top of everything when we're getting ready to get done. So, you know, I'll lower this brush a little bit. Let's clean up his face. Computer's doing a little struggling to keep up. It's just because, you know, a lot of times when you work with an image that's this size, this huge, it kind of just depends on your you know, overall computer power. So okay, we're getting there. We got his face kind of cleaned up. You know, yeah, let's clean up his shirt a little bit, and then that's going to be around his arms, and it'll go ahead and do that here in a sec. And I mean, if you're doing your edits too on let's say, you know, a laptop, something that you got maybe at Best Buy with not too much you know, processing power, I would strongly suggest that you you know, lower the image quality, which what you would do is click image size, and then lower it. A rule of hand would be image size, then go to your highest denominator and go to 1200. That's kind of just a moderate, you know, decent size that you can work with. That's still kind of you know, good quality, but, you know, if you can, don't mess with it. Keep these files as huge as you can, you know, because when you get down to it, you can zoom in, you know, to sub-molecular, you know, particles and see a lot of this stuff. So, you know, we're zoomed in as much as it goes, and we can kind of see that texture, you know, with it gone. So I don't even want that on. So what I'm going to do is even, you know, clean his face up, you know, with this grunge tool. So yeah, my computer should be able to process that all right now. And let's see, around there. So yeah, I mean, we got his face cleaned up quite a bit. So we don't have that kind of texture problem. But the cool thing is, now that we scroll down, we see that, you know, everything else is starting to blend a little bit. And also I'm starting to notice some of this green in here, you know, from the green screen. That's called bleed. Basically, when you do have a lot of lighting and stuff like that, it becomes an issue. So what I'm going to do right now is just straight up, you know, take our saturation on green. And he's not wearing green. You know, if you're doing a green screen shot, make sure nobody does that. You know, nobody wears green. So I'm going to lower all the green. And yeah, let's see. You know, that's not even doing as much as I want it to. So let's go ahead and do replace color. So what we'll do is replace color. We're going to select this kind of pea green looking thing. And let's go ahead and make the result black. Like even blacker than that, like that. You know, so you kind of see if you go too far with it, it gets a little crazy. That the more, you know, we go crazy with it, the more bleed there is. So, you know, I guess this green's, I'd rather have it black or some other color than that green. Maybe perhaps what we'll do is, you know, on the edges right there, if you notice, you know, here's before, it's kind of a green edge. What we'll do is just kind of replace that little green edge with the resulting color of his skin. So check that out. So that's kind of cool. I'd probably a little saturated. And you notice on the neck, you know, it's instead of that kind of pea green, it's starting to blend a little bit better. So, you know, that's a cool little trick to doing that. But yeah, I mean, we're looking good. We edited the eyes, we cleaned his complexion up, we added the cutouts, we even did a little bit of makeup under his eyes. We haven't messed with his lips too much, you know, that'll come in handy later. We'll see what that looks in contrast. But now we have this full-on, you know, texture brush cutout that we did with brushes of, you know, straight up texture brush grunge. So, you know, let's go and check that out. So here's what we got right now. I mean, it already is starting to look cool, you know, pretty awesome compared to the very first one we did. You know, this is all going to come together, and it's kind of going to be a final thing when we mess with the contrasts, and we add some sort of background to make it just you know, image as opposed to a guy standing around just a lot of grunge. So I mean, we went from this, you know, at the start with decent lighting to straight up, you know, this solid, you know, cutout shot. So it's already starting to look pretty legit. And once again, we started from step one. So the one thing I do want to point out is, you know, the blacks in the original look way better. They look a lot more crisp than these. You know, our blacks look kind of, you know, dirty because we made them that way. But what we're going to end up doing is, in the final process, we're going to smash everything together. You know, we're going to flatten our image, and then we're going to basically, with the final one image with all the changes and edits we've done, we're going to edit the contrast then. So basically, you know, it's better to wait till the very end before you start messing with contrast. And that's just how I do it. But, you know, it's better to mess with that last than, you know, get stuck with it and do it first. But, you know, notice how it's all smashed now. You know, we have our grunge and everything we've done in the previous tutorials. This is just a flattened one image. And then at this point, you know, you can get really elaborate with you know, your brightness stuff, and then it affects everything, kind of combining it together. So, you know, that's the benefit to waiting till the end. But yeah, that's pretty much what grunge texture is. And, you know, in the end, if you wanted to get real crazy, you could get one of these textures and, you know, start smashing it up a little bit more, you know. And this basically is the difference. One of the few differences of, you know, just pasted textures as opposed to grunge brushes, you know, texture brushes that you download. So, you know, check that out and go ahead and mess with them. And yeah, I'll have some of these attached and some of the attached DVD presets available via this DVD. So check that out, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Got a couple more coming up.